Hello, hello. Why peace keeps slipping through your hands? Well, that's an exciting topic. How many of you are struggling with not having peace in your life, with feeling stressed out and anxious all of the time? Not being able to sleep well, having issues with racing thoughts, over analyzing, second guessing, regretting, all of these things, right? So why peace keeps slipping through your fingers? So if you've been chasing peace for a long time, trying every book, every app, every routine, every breathing exercise, every self-help thing online, including mine, but it keeps just slipping away, and that you just cross your fingers and you hope that this time it's going to work, and that no matter how much you try, you're still stressed out and you're still having sleep issues and you're still having racing thoughts. So this live is for you. So just give me 15 minutes because I want to tell you something you're not going to like at first. Hold on a minute. Technical issues. Oh, hold on. Oh, I can see what's happening. Hold on a minute. Do you see how this is not stressing me out? I definitely practice what I preach. Let's see if this is. You've got to be able to roll with the punches, and not let things upset you to the point that you become too frustrated to even focus. And I know exactly what that feels like because I have done that before. I don't want you to think that I'm just speaking to you from a place of not understanding. I am definitely human. I have had issues in my own life. um, and it's really just a matter of, look at it wiggling. My camera's wiggling. It's just a matter of knowing how to manage your thoughts and knowing how to manage your mind through situations, many of which aren't going the way that you would like them to, which is what causes stress. And even this coming week, next week, I have some great information about that. So, if you're already worried, already predicting the next, moment, what should and shouldn't happen, already exhausted from things that haven't happened yet, and there is no amount of self-help that you have done that has helped you to get past some of those feelings, and no amount of meditating has helped you, or you probably think, I can't even meditate, I've tried it, because of your racing thoughts, right? Journaling, breath work, those things are going to maybe help you to unwind. But if you don't know how to manage your thoughts in your mind and work with it, those things are just going to, the issues are just going to keep affecting you. The building your brain around better ways of managing even your worst days, instead of replaying the negative scenarios over and over again, that's what's going to help you, right? So I'm going to show you why you tend to build your identity around your so-called worst days, and why that's happening, and why nothing else has worked, and what actually does. So stick with me, as there's one thing I want you to accept by the end of this live, just one belief, because if you accept it, everything else I say makes obvious sense. All right. So your peace isn't missing. The identity you built out of your hardest moments is literally blocking it. That's the domino. That's the aha light bulb moment. Because underneath every stress spiral, every anxiety loop, every I can't relax moment is a self image, a story that your brain built out of every panic, every collapse, every hard season. Like, I'm someone who spirals. I'm someone who worries. I'm someone who can't calm down. I'm someone who's always on the edge. That identity is running underneath your life all day, every day. You know, the morning your brain in the morning when your brain wakes up and you put you put that identity on before you even put your feet on the floor. And she is screaming for threat, predicting collapse, and generating stress out of situations that haven't even happened yet. And if you accept that, that peace isn't something you have to find. It's something already there that a false identity is blocking. So then the fix isn't more coping tools. It's not another app. It's not more discipline. The fix is upstream of all of that. It's rewiring the identity itself. And I'm going to show you exactly where. And let me tell you why I know this, because I've spent 25 years inside the minds of the most anxious, most driven, most exhausted, most successful, most burned out people on the entire planet. You know, Olympians, world champions, Hall of Famers, CEOs, mothers who look like they have it all together on the outside and are quietly falling apart on the inside. And I'll tell you something that's going to surprise you. The anxious people I work with are not fundamentally different from the peaceful people, not neurologically, not in their life circumstances, not in their responsibilities, not in what happens to them day to day. What's actually different is the identity they're carrying underneath. And what that identity is generating underneath every moment of their life. Right? So I personally learned this the hard way. As years ago, I was working with a woman. I wanted to be careful how I describe her because I want you to see yourself in this. She had done everything, every book, every therapist, every breath work course, every mindfulness retreat, every wellness practice you can imagine. And she was more exhausted than ever. And I remember sitting across from her and I asked one question. I said, if you had to finish this sentence in 6 words, what would you say? I am someone who blank. And just think about that for yourself right now. I am someone who blank. Well, she got quiet and then she said, I'm someone who can't ever fully relax. And in that moment, I understood something that reshaped my entire career. That woman, she was not failing at peace because she hadn't tried hard enough. She was failing at peace because the person doing the trying was an identity built out of every anxious moment she'd ever had. And no amount of peace, no amount of peace practices done by an anxious identity would produce peace, because the identity was generating the anxiety underneath every single practice. So we did our work together, not more coping tools. Like, we went underneath and something shifted that she'd been trying to shift for like 20 years. Not because I gave her a better technique. She already had every technique a human could have, but because I helped her stop being someone who can't ever fully relax. And underneath that identity was a woman who could. And that's when everything I do now, shifted, because I realized you cannot practice your way to peace when the version of you doing the practicing was built to worry. And nobody, that was my mostly blind dog. It's so crazy. She's 14 and she just ran right into the camera stand. So I've spent like 25 years building a program that can help you look at that identity. And that's what I want to show you today. Because the old vehicle, the one like, I need more coping tools or more calming techniques or more peace practices, that's not getting you where you want to be, or else you'd already be there, right? So the true vehicle, rewriting the identity that's generating the stress underneath, that's what's going to get you to where you want to be. And here's what every anxious person believes. And I understand it because it's what we're all taught. You believe if I just find the right tool, the right breath, the right routine, the right app, the right meditation, the right supplement, the right therapist, I'll finally be at peace. And I'll tell you the truth. Those tools work in the moment, right? If that's all they are, like hypnosis is different as far as its direct suggestion, where just meditation is bringing you to a place of peace by quieting the conscious mind, if you can allow your conscious mind to relax and to go into that state, right? So sometimes you can have relief for an hour, sometimes a day, but then the peace slips away and you go looking for the next tool and the next one after that and the next one after that. And here's why. And this is the neuroscience. Your brain holds a model of who you are. And neuroscientists call it your self schema. And it lives in specific brain regions, the medial prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate cortex. And it's running underneath every moment of your waking life. Every choice, every reaction, every sensation gets filtered through it before it ever reaches your conscious awareness. That self schema includes an identity built out of your anxious moments. So I'm someone who spirals. I'm someone who can't relax. I'm someone who worries. 3 things happen automatically when you have those types of thoughts or identities. And they happen without your permission. So one is that your reticular activating system pre-filters your environment for evidence of threat. Your brain literally makes you notice the stress signals more and the safety signals less, because that's who you are and your brain is helping you find yourself. And the second thing is your amygdala. She's still hitting it. Okay, Layla, you done moving? Your amygdala pre-primes threat response before the situation even begins. Like cortisol, it starts flowing on the way to your meeting. Your chest tightens before your phone buzzes. Your body is already braced for what your identity predicts. And the third is that your nervous system holds sympathetic tone even in objectively safe situations, because the identity your brain is running says you are unsafe as a baseline. That's not a mindset problem. That's neurology. And no amount of coping tools fixes it, because you're using the tool on top of the identity that's generating the stress. It's like taking Tylenol every hour for a splinter you refuse to remove. The Tylenol helps briefly, but the splinter is still generating the pain. The real vehicle is not another coping tool. It's rewriting the identity underneath. And the self-image that's producing the stress before your life even shows up. That's a completely different kind of work. And it's the exact work most anxiety approaches never touch. So the belief, I'm just an anxious person, that's just who I am. I know exactly what some of you are thinking. You're thinking like, Dawn, that sounds great, but I'm just wired this way. My mom is anxious. My grandmother was anxious. It's genetics. It's how I've always been. That mental training stuff is for people who are naturally calmer. If you're having thoughts right now, hear me on this. Your anxiety is not who you are. Your anxiety is a self schema your brain built and updated 1,000 times over your lifetime. And any self schema that was built can be rewritten. And here's what most people don't understand about the I'm just anxious identity. It didn't start with you, it was probably installed early. You grew up in a household where one parent or both parent was anxious and you absorbed the frequency. Maybe there was chronic instability. Maybe there was a moment of real danger when you were young. Maybe there was a series of small betrayals of your trust. Somewhere in your brain and in your history, you made a decision. I need to stay vigilant to be safe. And that decision got installed as identity. Or I'm someone who worries. I'm someone who catastrophizes things. I'm someone who can't relax. And here you are, decades later, running that identity. And in situations that stopped being dangerous a long time ago, because nobody ever went back and updated your self schema. That's not who you are. That's who you learned to be to survive something that ended. And I'll tell you something that's going to surprise you. The people who make the fastest breakthroughs in work aren't the naturally calm ones. It's the chronically anxious ones, the lifelong worriers, the ones who thought they'd never feel peace because it just wasn't in their nature. Now, why is that? Because once you see that your anxiety is an identity and not nature, then you understand that the schema was installed, not inherited as destiny. You can go where it lives and change it. And you are not disqualified from peace because you've been anxious your whole life. You are the exact person this work is built for. So the belief, my life is what's making me stressed. You know, if my circumstances changed, I'd be at peace. That's got to go, right? And then the last one, and this is the sneakiest one. You might be thinking something like, Dawn, my problem isn't in my head. My problem is my kids or my schedule or my marriage or my job or my finances or the economy or my health or my aging parents. But if those things were different, then I'd be fine. So I hear this literally every single week. And here's what I'll tell you. Every one of those external stressors, I promise you, has an identity underneath it that is amplifying it into something bigger than it needs to be. So your kids are stressing you out. Well, every parent has stressful kids. What's different for you is the identity underneath. Like, I'm someone who's failing them. I'm someone who can't keep up. I'm someone who's not doing enough. And that identity is turning normal parenting or normal parenting difficulties into existential collapse. Your job is stressing you out? Well, every job is stressful and has stressful moments, I should say. What's different is the identity. I'm someone who's about to be exposed. I'm someone who's barely holding on. I'm someone who's one mistake from losing everything. And that identity is turning normal work pressure into alarm crises. How about your finances are stressing you out? Well, millions of people navigate money pressure without their nervous system falling apart. What's different is the identity. I'm someone who's never going to be okay. I'm someone who always struggles with money. I'm someone who was set up to fail. And that identity is turning normal financial concern into constant background dread. And I'm not saying your life circumstances aren't real, because they are and they matter. Some of you, some of what you're carrying is genuinely heavy for sure. But the degree to which those circumstances collapse your peace has less to do with the circumstances and more to do with the identity that's running underneath them. So, two people can have the exact same stressor. One handles it, one is destroyed by it. The difference is not the stressor, it's the self schema doing the interpreting. So, change the identity underneath, and the same life stops producing the same stress. Not because your circumstances got easier, because you stopped generating the stress on top of them. And that's not like woo woo. That's how humans have always worked. So let me pull this all together for you. So you now know the true vehicle. It's not more coping or tools. It's actually rewiring the identity that's generating the stress underneath. And you know it can work for you because your anxiety identity was installed, not inherited as destiny. And you know your circumstances aren't the real blocker. The self schema interpreting them is. So, with all that info, the question now is not whether to do the work. If you're still watching right now, you already know. The question is how and how fast. Right? You can figure this out on your own, and some people do, and it takes them 10, 15, 20 years of trial and error. Therapists who focus on the surface, or books that teach certain conscious level skills but don't address the schema, and endless coping tools that help for a moment if you implement them and then fade. Or you can plug into the exact framework that I've built over 25 years working with the most anxious, most burned out, most driven people on the entire planet, and then rewrite it in a fraction of the time. So here's what that looks like. So when you come inside my stress-free mindful living program, this is what you get. You get my 21 video lesson mental training framework. It's my exclusive system, the same framework I've used with Olympians, world champions, CEOs, and chronically anxious high performers. And each lesson is about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's a deep dive video that walks you step by step through unwiring the exact identity patterns generating your stress. And that alone, the framework, is worth literally more than my entire program price. So you get also lesson-specific hypnosis audios. This is the piece that reaches the layer where your self-schema actually lives. So the conscious lessons, the video lessons, they teach you what's happening and how to consciously be aware and shift your thought patterns. But the hypnosis audios, they go underneath and they rewrite the identity at the level it was originally installed. So this is why this work sticks. So most anxiety approaches only work on the surface, as you can imagine, and that's why the piece fades. So my audios reach where the schema was built and rewrites it there. So you also get access to Mind Mastered Collective. That's my private community where you get direct access to me and group sessions and a community of people doing this work alongside of you so that you're not doing it alone. It's like learning French, and then there's all these other people learning French too, and you speak the same language, right? You can support each other. You're not doing it alone then. Now, you also get my monthly Dialogue with Dawn Q&A lives where you bring your specific stress, your specific spiral, your specific situation, and I coach you on it live. And you get the full archive of many, many years of my monthly live Dialogue with Dawn Q&A. So it's hundreds of hours of me coaching people through the exact patterns that we talked about today. So the whole package is built as one system. The lessons teach it, the audios install it, the community holds you, and I coach you through it. And you're not buying a course, you're buying access to the exact framework that's helped thousands of people all around the world to stop generating their own stress and access also to me. I can coach you through the shift and the change, the positive changes. So right now, what I want you to do, go to dawngrant.com. In the menu, you'll see Start Here, and there's a drop down. There's Stress-Free Mindful Living. There's an entire page devoted for someone just like you. If you want, you can schedule a strategy call. You'll see the link there too if you have more questions. But hear me on this one last thing. Tomorrow is coming. Next week is coming. Next year is coming, and you're going to walk into all of it carrying the same identity you've been carrying, the one your brain built out of every anxious moment you've ever had. Or you're going to walk into it as someone your brain has actually updated, someone whose baseline is no longer braced. Now, I know which one I choose. I choose it for myself all the time. I do this work myself. I work on my own self-schema and my own beliefs all the time. So if I were you, standing where you're standing, knowing what I know now, I'd get in. So dawngrant.com, Start Here, drop down, stress-free, mindful living, or schedule a strategy call. I love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you inside.